I gotta say, I love social justice because it's an ideology which helps me think. Without social justice, I would have to think for myself, and it hurts. It really hurts when I strain my brain trying to do the thinking. But luckily, I now have an army of US academics, highly trained professionals, journalists that are helping me think. And they have laid out a very simple path that I can understand the world. You see, you can now stereotype and know a person without having to talk with them. I mean, you look at a person and you can see through the core essence of their humanity. You can see the core of their human being, and you can already make assumptions about them without actually having to engage. Like, for example, if a person is a woman, boom, they're oppressed. If a person is a minority, boom, they're marginalized. If a person is a Muslim, boom, they're the voiceless. So if a person is all three of them, then they are at the intersection of oppression. Like oppression flies from everywhere, from society, like bullets. Pew, 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 pew. Like the rich are oppressing them. But social justice also tells me that there is only one way to measure the value of a person, to say if a person is in a good place or not. And the only way to measure is and the only way to measure a human being is through the wealth that they produce, through the status that they have in a corporation. So, for example, a mother that is very happy that she managed to raise a couple of kids and they're now independent and she's happily married with her significant other and they're having this happy but modest family. No, that is not success. Success is when a single woman manages to become CEO. That is the most success. Like slaving at the corporation, that is successful. Very successful. So, usually, from what I understand, is that wealthy people, they're successful, but they're evil. And minorities are oppressed. Now, every now and then you get a little bit of a contradiction. Like what happens when you get a minority that's also a woman and is also a Muslim and she's a CEO? Like what do you do with that? Like she's already at the top, so she's one of the wealthy, but at the same time it's the intersection of oppressions. Like is she a good person or a bad person? And luckily, like social justice helps us understand. It's very simple. If that person preaches social justice, then they're a good person. If they don't preach social justice, then they're a bad person. Case in point, the ex-CEO of Pepsi is a bad person. Why? Because they're not a social justice activist. They're not raising awareness. Like that's all you need to do is to raise awareness. She doesn't raise awareness, so she's a bad person, which means that the media gets to do hit pieces on her. Instead of trying to see how she managed to get to the top, instead of trying to see which steps she climbed to help other people, no, we're going to do a hit piece on her. Now, what's interesting is that the way social justice works is that women are like a class, and they send representatives to become CEOs, representatives to become various characters in movies and video games, right? And you have like the parliament of women that represent the other women, and this one isn't doing a good job, right? Because she's not a good representative of the women class, I guess, the women nation. And she said that asking for a raise is cringeworthy. Now, if you just read the title and you don't read what she actually said, it was like, what an asshole, right? Like, what an evil person. How can she say something like this? Is she mocking the poor? Like, did she manage to get into a high job position and is now mocking people? Well, if you actually read the article, it says that she personally wouldn't ask for a raise. I've never ever asked for a raise, she told the New York Times. I find it cringeworthy. I cannot imagine working for somebody and saying my pay is not enough. So this is just her personal opinion. Imagine if someone says, I think cheese is bad for me. I don't like cheese. And then the news would say, this person says that all cheese everywhere is bad for you. Like it doesn't really make sense, right? This is what journalists do. This is Business Insider 2021. This is how they spin the news. So this person said that she never asked for a raise because she would find it cringe. And now the title is that universally she thinks asking for a raise is cringeworthy. It's not just for her. Very fascinating, isn't it? So, here's the interesting part about asking for a raise. The article actually talks about how, despite the fact that men and women ask for a raise equally, women don't usually get the raise. Now, if we leave social justice aside and we actually think for ourselves, it might not have to do with the sex. It may have to do with being assertive. For example, if you're a timid person, if you're a person that doesn't speak out often, that is very shy, very introverted, and you're going to the boss to ask for a raise, you're probably not going to get it. But if you're a very assertive person and you go to your boss and it's like, listen here, motherfucker, I noticed that there's a work shortage going on right now, and you can either give me a raise or I'm going to take my 5 other buddies that work at the company and we're going to fuck off. Which one of them do you think is more likely to get the raise? The person that's like, oh, boss, I'm sorry to ask, but would it be okay? Like, well, if I'm not bothering the company right now, do you think that we can arrange for just a little bit of a raise? Do you think? Clearly, the second person is more likely to get the raise, right? Now, when it comes to assertiveness, do you think women are more assertive than men? I don't know. But what I do know is that I don't think it's a bad thing to teach women to be assertive. If this is the goal, to climb the corporate ladder, teach them to be more assertive. I'm not against that. But what I am against is to already assume that the company is sexist. Because some people don't know how to sell themselves for the company. Now, here's what's actually interesting and why the CEO of Pepsi is actually right and asking for a raise is cringeworthy. And this is not what any progressive or any media outlet is going to tell you, because this actually hurts corporations if you do it, but it's for your own good. So, when you go to a corporation and you want to get a job, usually there's going to be an HR lady that has to fill 3 applications that day. And the boss is going to tell her that the wage that they're willing to pay is between, I don't know, $3,000 and $6,000. So when you go to the interview, they're going to ask you, like, how much do you want to earn? And if you say $2,000, they're going to be like, okay, hired. Welcome aboard. Maybe they'll give you $2,500 just so you can feel good, right? But when you actually go with your colleagues, you might have someone else in the room that's less experienced than you and is making $6,000. Why? Because that's how much they asked at the interview. So once you asked at an interview $2,500 and you're going to get a raise, you're going to get a raise from $2,500. Someone who asked for $5,000, they're going to get a raise from $5,000. You will never manage to increase your raise, your wage, to the point as you have the opportunity to do so at the interview. At the interview, you can just double your wage. So what you can do, instead of asking for a raise, you can decide you want to work at another company. So you can get a job at another company, and then at the interview, you say that you want more to be paid, and all of a sudden you can double or you can triple your wage. The problem with this is that companies hate this. They call this they call this company hopping, and they can tax you in your resume. So you shouldn't do it a lot. But if you do it once every 6 or every 7 years, I don't think anyone is going to complain, and you can double your wage. So yeah, like, asking for a raise is cringeworthy. Like, you're not going to get a lot of money if you ask for a raise. And think about it, like, if you actually have to go and you have to ask for a raise, well, it means that already now the employer goes like, so this person doesn't really like how much I'm paying them. They're probably looking for other job opportunities, and you might find yourself to be on the top of the next to be fired list. So yes, I agree, you shouldn't ask for a raise. What you should do is to try to find other job opportunities and renegotiate your salary when you go to another job. So yes, the ex-CEO of Pepsi actually knows how to lift women up. Just listen to the ex-CEO of Pepsi. Don't ask for a raise. Try to renegotiate salary at another company. But anyway, I want to show you just how easy it is to ruin someone's reputation in the press. I mean, they make this article, they make this headline, which is very misleading. And then you get people on Twitter. It's like, fellas, is it cringe to ask for a raise? And then literally everyone is dumping on this woman as if she's an evil person, when she was just talking about herself. She was talking about herself. I don't care, what she personally thinks. Like, maybe there are some people that I don't know, find stepping on Lego to be enjoyable. That doesn't mean that you can make an article and says everyone should step on a Lego. That's just what that person does. But I guess this is the media we deserve, huh? Like the media we get versus the media we deserve. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.